Mark's hands trembled as he stared at his phone in horror. The text meant for his daughter had just been sent to his boss instead. "I miss you so much it hurts." Before he could even attempt damage control, 3 dots appeared on the screen. His boss was typing a response, and in that moment, Mark knew his life was about to change forever. If you've ever sent a text to the wrong person, you know that stomach-dropping feeling. But what happened next to this single dad will leave you speechless. Stay with me until the end to discover the 3 words his boss whispered that would transform both their lives in ways neither could have imagined. It had been exactly 1 year since Mark Davidson lost his wife, Sarah, to cancer. The anniversary weighed heavily on him as he tucked his 8-year-old daughter Emma into bed. She was spending the weekend at her grandmother's house, Sarah's mother, who wanted to commemorate the day with her only grandchild by looking through old photo albums and sharing stories. "I miss you already, Daddy," Emma had said as he dropped her off, her small arms wrapped tightly around his neck. "I miss you too, sweetheart." "More than you know," he'd replied, fighting back tears. Now, alone in their modest 2-bedroom apartment, Mark sat on the couch surrounded by silence. The walls seemed to close in on him. 1 year without Sarah. 1 year of being both mother and father to Emma. 1 year of barely keeping it together at work, of crying in the shower where Emma couldn't hear him, of learning to braid hair and make heart-shaped sandwiches and navigate parent-teacher conferences alone. He picked up his phone to text Emma goodnight, something he always did when they were apart. His thumb hovered over the contact list. His vision blurred with unshed tears as he typed, "I miss you so much it hurts. The apartment feels empty without you. Sleep tight, I love you more than anything." He hit send without double-checking the recipient. 2 minutes later, he realized his catastrophic mistake. The message hadn't gone to Emma. It had gone to Emily Chen, his direct supervisor at the architectural firm where he'd worked for the past 7 years. Mark's heart raced as he stared at the screen in disbelief. Emily was professional, brilliant, and intimidating. She ran their department with precision and had little patience for personal matters interfering with work. They maintained a strictly professional relationship, and now he'd just sent her what could easily be interpreted as an inappropriate, emotionally charged message late on a Friday night. The 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then, finally, a response, "Mark, are you okay?" He quickly typed an explanation, mortified, "Emily, I am so sorry. That message was meant for my daughter. She's staying with her grandmother tonight. I apologize for the confusion." The dots appeared again. "I see. No problem. That should have been the end of it. An embarrassing mistake, but ultimately harmless." Mark set his phone down and tried to calm his racing heart. He'd explain again on Monday, they'd share an awkward laugh, and life would go on. But 20 minutes later, his doorbell rang. What would you do if your boss showed up at your door after receiving such a personal text? If this story resonates with you so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more real-life stories that touch the heart. Mark opened the door to find Emily standing there, still in her work clothes, holding a paper bag. Her normally perfectly styled black hair was slightly windblown, and she looked uncertain, an expression he'd never seen on her face before. "Emily? What are you doing here?" She shifted uncomfortably. "I brought dinner. Thai food. I remembered you mentioned it was your favorite once in a meeting." She paused. "May I come in?" Too stunned to refuse, Mark stepped aside. Emily had never been to his home. They'd never socialized outside of work events. And yet here she was, standing in his living room, taking in the family photos on the wall, the scattered toys that belonged to Emma, the half-empty coffee mug on the table. "I know today is the anniversary," Emily said quietly. "Of your wife's passing." Mark stared at her. "How did you know that?" "HR records. And you requested this day off last year. I put it together." She set the food down on the coffee table. "I thought you might not want to be alone tonight." The simple kindness of her gesture, so unexpected from his usually reserved boss, broke something in Mark. Before he could stop himself, tears welled up in his eyes. Emily didn't look away or seem embarrassed by his emotion. Instead, she stepped closer and whispered 3 words that would change everything: "I understand loss." As they sat eating Thai food from containers, Emily shared her own story for the first time. Her fiancé had died in a car accident 6 years ago, just 2 months before their wedding. She'd thrown herself into work afterward, climbing the corporate ladder with single-minded determination, never letting anyone at the office see beyond her professional exterior. "Sometimes I think I forgot how to connect with people," she admitted. "I built walls so high that I couldn't even see over them anymore." Mark nodded, understanding completely. "I've been so focused on being strong for Emma that I haven't let myself feel anything else. I'm either dad or architect. There's no room for just being Mark." As the night progressed, they talked about grief and healing, about the challenges of moving forward without forgetting the past. They discovered shared interests beyond architecture: a love of old jazz music, hiking in the mountains just outside the city, and terrible sci-fi movies that were so bad they were good. Around midnight, Emily stood to leave. At the door, she hesitated. "Thank you for letting me in tonight. Not just into your home, but..." She gestured vaguely. "I know," Mark said. "Thank you for coming." What happened next would test both of them in ways they never expected. If you're enjoying this journey, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next in this emotional story. Monday morning arrived with a new awkwardness. How would they navigate their professional relationship now? Mark arrived at the office early, hoping to speak with Emily before others arrived, but her office remained empty until the regular staff meeting at 9 a.m. She entered the conference room last, perfectly composed in a tailored navy suit, hair immaculate, expression neutral. She nodded at Mark just as she did to everyone else, giving no indication that anything had changed between them. The meeting proceeded normally until Emily announced a major new project, a community center in a struggling neighborhood. "This is a passion project for the firm's partners," she explained. "We need our best people on it." She looked directly at Mark. "Davidson will lead the design team." Mark's colleagues congratulated him, but he felt a twist of anxiety. This was the biggest opportunity he'd had since Sarah's diagnosis had forced him to scale back his workload 2 years ago. The timing couldn't be worse. Emma needed stability in his presence, not a father working late nights and weekends. After the meeting, he knocked on Emily's office door. "I appreciate the vote of confidence," he said, "but I'm not sure I can take this on right now." "Emma." "I understand your concerns," Emily interrupted, her professional mask firmly in place. "But I believe you're the right person for this project. Your design sensibility is exactly what we need." "The hours will be flexible," she finished. "You can work from home when needed. Bring Emma to the office after school if necessary. We'll make it work." Mark studied her face, searching for any hint of the woman who had sat in his living room 2 nights before. "Why are you doing this?" Emily's professional veneer cracked slightly. "Because you're talented, Mark. And because people need purpose when they're healing." She straightened some papers on her desk. "That will be all." The project consumed Mark's days. True to her word, Emily arranged for a small area in the corner of the office where Emma could do homework after school. His colleagues, who had always been supportive but distant since Sarah's death, began to include him and Emma in their lives: invitations to birthday parties for their children, weekend barbecues, movie nights. Emily maintained her professional distance at work, but every Friday evening for the next month, she appeared at his door with takeout food. Sometimes they talked about the project, sometimes about their pasts, sometimes about nothing important at all. Emma, initially shy around the lady boss, as she called Emily, gradually warmed to her, especially when Emily revealed she had been a competitive gymnast in college, Emma's newest obsession. Then came the night that would test everything they had built. If you're invested in Mark and Emily's journey, hit that like button and subscribe to see how this emotional story unfolds. The community center project hit a major snag. The City Planning Commission rejected their initial designs, citing concerns about parking and traffic flow. The firm's partners were furious, and Emily took the brunt of their anger in a tense meeting that Mark witnessed through glass walls, her straight back, her nodding head, her acceptance of responsibility for a problem that wasn't her fault. That evening, Mark waited for her usual Friday visit, but she didn't come. He called her cell phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Concerned, he bundled Emma into the car and drove to Emily's address, a modern apartment building downtown that she had mentioned once in passing. The doorman recognized Mark's name. "Ms. Chen said you might stop by. She's in apartment 1507. Mark found Emily's door slightly ajar. He knocked gently and pushed it open. "Emily?" The apartment was minimalist and elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Emily sat on a white couch, still in her work clothes, staring at nothing. A half-empty glass of wine sat on the coffee table. "The partners are pulling me from the project," she said without preamble. "They're bringing in Richardson from the New York office to take over." Mark sat beside her, Emma hovering uncertainly by the door. "That's ridiculous. This setback isn't your fault. It doesn't matter. I'm responsible." She took a sip of wine. "I've never failed at anything in my professional life. Not once." "This isn't failure," Mark insisted. "It's a redirect. We'll revise the plans and they don't want me involved anymore." Her voice cracked slightly. 7 years at that firm, working 80-hour weeks, sacrificing everything for the job, and one setback is all it takes to be sidelined. Emma approached cautiously and placed her small hand on Emily's knee. "My daddy says that sometimes the best things happen after the worst things. That's how we got our cat Muffin. A really bad thunderstorm scared her into our garage." Emily looked at the child, then at Mark, and something in her expression softened. "Your daddy is very wise." That night, they ordered pizza and watched one of the terrible sci-fi movies they both loved, with Emma falling asleep between them on the couch. When Mark carried his daughter to the guest bedroom Emily offered, he returned to find his boss, his friend, standing by the window, her silhouette outlined by city lights. "I've been thinking," she said without turning around. "Maybe this is an opportunity, not a setback." "What do you mean?" She turned to face him. "I've been approached by a smaller firm. They want to open a branch focused on community-based projects, schools, libraries, affordable housing. They asked me to run it." "That sounds perfect for you," Mark said sincerely. "It would mean starting over. Building something from the ground up." She took a deep breath. "I'd want to bring you with me." The offer hung in the air between them, full of professional promise and personal implications. Mark thought about the safety of his current position versus the excitement of creating something meaningful. He thought about Emma and what kind of example he wanted to set for her. "I'd need to think about it," he said finally. Emily nodded. "Of course." She hesitated, then added, "Whatever you decide, I want you to know that your accidental text that night, it changed something for me. It reminded me that there's more to life than work." Mark stepped closer to her. "It changed things for me too." What happened next would determine not just their professional futures, but their personal ones as well. If you're invested in seeing how Mark and Emily navigate these uncharted waters, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories that touch the heart and soul. 3 months later, Mark stood in the empty office space of Chen and Davidson Community Architecture. Sunlight streamed through large windows, illuminating the potential of the bare room. Drafting tables would go there, a conference area there, a kid-friendly corner by the window for Emma and eventually, perhaps, other employees' children. Emily entered carrying 2 cups of coffee. The contractors say we can move in next week. Furniture delivery is scheduled for Thursday. Mark accepted the coffee with a smile. It's really happening. Having second thoughts? Emily asked, a hint of vulnerability in her question. Not one, he assured her. This feels right. Their decision to become business partners had raised eyebrows at their former firm. Some colleagues assumed there was more to their relationship, despite their protestations that they were just friends with complementary professional skills. Mark wasn't sure how to define what they were to each other anymore, more than colleagues, more than friends, but carefully navigating the complexity of their intertwined lives. Emma had taken to Emily completely, often asking when Ms. Emily would come over for dinner or movie night. Emily had become a fixture in their lives, teaching Emma gymnastics in the park on Saturdays, helping with science projects, offering a female perspective that Mark, for all his efforts, couldn't provide. Their first project as partners was a redesign of the very community center that had caused their professional upheaval. With complete creative control and a deep understanding of the neighborhood's needs, they created plans that not only satisfied the City Planning Commission but excited the community itself. On the evening before their official opening, Mark and Emily sat on the floor of their new office, sharing takeout just as they had that first night. I never thanked you properly, Mark said suddenly. For what? For showing up that night. For seeing that I needed someone even when I didn't know it myself. Emily set down her chopsticks. I needed someone too. I just didn't know how to admit it. The air between them changed, charged with unspoken possibilities. They had carefully maintained certain boundaries, both aware of the complications that could arise from crossing them, their new business, Emma's attachment to Emily, their own unhealed wounds. Mark, Emily said softly, there's something I've wanted to tell you. Before she could continue, Mark's phone rang, Emma's grandmother. He answered immediately, his face growing pale as he listened. I'll be right there, he said, ending the call and jumping to his feet. Emma fell off the balance beam at gymnastics class. They think her arm might be broken. Emily was already grabbing her keys. I'll drive. At the hospital, they found Emma brave-faced but tearful, her arm in a temporary splint while they waited for X-ray results. She brightened when she saw them both. Daddy. Ms. Emily. Did you see me do the cartwheel before I fell? Coach said it was perfect. Mark kissed her forehead. I'm sure it was amazing, sweetheart. The doctor confirmed a clean break that would heal well with a cast. As they went through the process of selecting a color, purple with glitter, filling prescriptions, and getting care instructions, Mark noticed how seamlessly he and Emily worked together. She remembered to ask questions he forgot. He comforted Emma while Emily took notes on the care regimen. They communicated with barely a word. It was nearly midnight when they arrived home, Emma drowsy from pain medication. Mark carried her to bed while Emily prepared an ice pack and arranged pillows to elevate the injured arm. After Emma finally drifted off to sleep, they collapsed on the couch, emotionally drained. Thank you, Mark said. For being there. For always being there. Emily turned to face him. There's nowhere else I would have been. She took a deep breath. What I was going to tell you earlier. I've been afraid to say it because once it's out there, everything changes.